Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing the comic book review on Absolute Wonder Woman #2. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our Absolute Wonder Woman #1 comic book review, I would highly recommend you guys go and check out our Absolute Wonder Woman #1 comic book review. That way you guys can understand what we thought and felt about issue 1 of Absolute Wonder Woman #1, which I thought was very, very good for an introduction issue #1 to Absolute Wonder Woman. So this issue was more of a wrapping up of the first issue and kind of setting up Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's relationship, and then ending off with the whole, hey, this other bad guy is more bigger than the one that you just faced.
Yeah, it's like, here's Cthulhu right at the
end. God, it's like, hey, I know this guy, Harbinger, was pretty powerful, but here's just this giant tarantula sea demon that we're going to face in issue #3. So, you know, there's always going to be these issues when it comes to comic books where the first issue's like really action-packed, and then the second one is more like kind of more dialogue heavy focus. I would say this book is more of an expositional dump than the first issue. Whereas with the first issue, I liked it a lot because it kind of managed to balance out several different narratives throughout, which is very hard to do for an issue #1 to really capture people, to really get them invested into the, you know, actual book. Whereas with this one, the pacing is still fine. The dialogue is fine. Mostly everything's still fine. It's just, you know, really just a setup book. That's just really all it is, honestly.
It's my one complaint is that it feels, I'm kind of like, well, what, you know, what's happening here? Is this whole series just going to be Wonder Woman fighting bigger monsters on this beach? Because, like, if you look at the Absolute Batman one, there's every issue they're setting up characters, they're setting up this storyline, this web, and it's getting really, really interesting.
Scott Snyder has thought about it and planned it out multiple issues in advance, because he even said he has Absolute Batman written to like issue number 23, 24, when he had that random interview on that one YouTube channel where it got like 4 viewers, which is, I guess that's just what happens when you go on channels with less than 300 subscribers. But it feels like Kelly Thompson in this issue was just basically trying the most basic setup for Steve Trevor, because in the first part of the book, which is really like my only issue before we actually just dive straight into it, is basically it gets to this part, and you knew Steve Trevor was coming because that's obviously a staple Wonder Woman, you know, supporting character and love interest. So give me 1 second. Like, it just starts it off right here, because I will just say this right now, I don't know if the other issues that are out currently solve this problem, because this is only, what, 2 of 5, and I know they just dropped issue #5 for Absolute Wonder Woman when we're doing this comic book review of Absolute Wonder Woman issue #2, that this first arc is concluded, because right here, on this first page, it says, like, right here, before Hell, the Wild Isle, home of Diana and Circe. Just Steve Trevor is just there. Like, he just pops up there, and then you never really get the backstory on how he ended up in hell. Now, I'm just going to make sure I preface this and say this, because I know there's a weirdo comic fans out there. I'm not saying it's not revealed in later issues. I'm just saying in this issue, it's not. And if you really want to get people invested harder after how good issue 1 was, it's kind of pretty apparent you might want to have basically the same backstory panel setup that issue 1 had, because issue 1 was able to balance out backstory, present, getting the story all set up for it to have this like big splash, where I felt like with this one, you could have went that extra route with Steve Trevor there, because he just kind of shows up in hell, and then she's all, well, obviously at that point, she's already an adult, and her mother's already raised her to be a Wonder Woman, no pun intended, you know, and that's it. And it's basically kind of and keep in mind, the writer of this is Kelly Thompson, and I know she's a girl, and they typically like, getting swept off their feet. And the romance was cute. It's one of this kind of felt like a slice of life romance issue for Absolute Wonder Woman. That's kind of how I felt about it. It's not bad, it's not great, it's just all right. It's one of those TV show episodes you just go through in a TV show and you're like, okay, this is just setting up to get me to the next issue that's going to be even better. So I don't know if you have similar thoughts, but that's kind of just what I was thinking when I was just generally reading it.
No, I agree. I think it would have been better if they extended, because the fight where it ended, where that big beak monster thing came out. Yeah, Harbinger. If they would have extended the Harbinger fight through the entire issue, and then maybe have Steve on a radio talking to her that way, or he's fighting, like shooting monsters on the side of her, I think that would have been better than with the flashbacks of him showing up the island on those lines. I think it would have filled out more, because you got the first fight, which wasn't that satisfying, and then all of this slice of life stuff. And it does, give some fill in, but it wasn't as well done mixing in with the action as the first issue did. So yeah, it felt a little like it slowed down a bit on the second one, but the artwork's still great, and it's still paced wonderfully and laid out real well. Dialogue is good. It's just they didn't have much action in this one. There wasn't much. It was more of, like you said, a slice of life romance kind of thing. So
yeah, that's the thing, where the fight with Harbinger, it's one of those fights where they should have kind of had a little bit more meat on the bone finishing him off, because that's what they set up to in issue number 1 really well. It's like, it's going to be a big battle when she gets her lasso of truth, and it just kind of, okay, she tells it to go. She literally just tells it, hey, you need to leave right now. And this big giant monster just walks away back into this giant like rock formation there. And I was like, okay, that felt a little anticlimactic. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm still going to have Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1 in my top 10 floppies of the year. It was really, really good. But this one was just, it's like an episode of TV after the first episode where it's like, okay, super explosive first episode. Now we're getting a calm, quiet issue, like second issue or episode 2. So time to go start fucking my wife. I'm joking, guys. Time to start going through the book. So we pick up where we last left off at Gateway City. Wonder Woman is fighting Harbinger, and she wraps it up, no pun intended, with the lasso of truth, and basically ends up telling Harbinger, you need to leave. That's essentially it,
Yeah, the lasso seems to burn him. Like, I think it has other abilities that just truth now.
So I guess, like, if you're from hell, it burns you and makes your sins impact you 10 times harder.
Oh, okay. It's like a pendant stare and a rope.
Yeah.
Got it.
So then, what was interesting in this issue compared to the last one that I did like, the panels were drawn so dynamic. I will say this, the artist is doing very, very good work with how dynamic the panels are, actually, in the series so far for the first 2 issues. And the writer, in a second here, well, I'll remember their name, but after that, basically, Wonder Woman tells Harbinger to leave. And then she kind of feels later on in the issue that something bigger is coming, because that's just kind of how these gods and monsters story work. There's always a bigger enemy. It's kind of just how that works, actually. And then, you get your Absolute Wonder Woman, the last Amazon part 2 of 5. The artist, Hayden Sherman, doing a very, very good job on art, actually. And as you know, with Wonder Woman, Steve Trevor was going to be a player in this. This is now you get into the backstory point of view, because after she defeated Harbinger, Steve Trevor ends up saying, hey, Diana. So and this is the other thing. You get to the part where you're like, how did he end up in hell? That's just that's just a jump. That's a big jump right there. And they could have told the 2 pages of backstory there about how he got there. If you're going to do a setup issue like that way you don't have to tackle that later on. I'm going to say this again. I'm not saying they're not going to do it in the later issues 3, 4, and 5, but it would have been good to do it here. So Wonder Woman sees the first man she's ever seen probably in her entire life. And, her vagina is probably getting really wet, like most girls when they get next to me. This is how it happens. They just turn girls on, he comes to the revelation that he's in hell. Just like that's how you can tell this is a slice of life book. Man just figures out he's in hell. And there's two women. He's probably thinking like threesome. I'll be thinking that. But that's just me. So they end up, talking on the beach. Basically, he's talking about what he does on Earth, and she's talking about like what she is in hell, actually, and how they deal with living there. Good Lord. And then after that, it fast forwards to the present again, where basically Wonder Woman is getting yelled at by the commander-in-chief above, Steve Trevor. He's basically telling her that, hey, I could essentially have you arrested for several different reasons, but she's like, hey, no, you need me. That's not happening, actually. So that's really all that was, and that's too, like, it's really stereotypical of a freaking story trope, right? Where you have the guy who's like, you can't be in this jurisdiction. I don't like you. I don't care. I could punch your head off if I wanted to, but didn't do that. But that was just kind of the interaction that she had with that guy, and then you get more slice of life stuff. You figure out that her Pegasus, oh god, this is so dark. The skin of it was skinned off. It was they skinned the Pegasus alive, the horse that she was riding in issue number 1. And one of the officers was like, "What the hell does a dead horse eat?" She said, "Magic." I mean, it's an undead horse. I would imagine it needs to. Why does it need to eat? It's not alive, but whatever. It's just so ridiculous sometimes with some of the dialogue here. It's like, why would an undead horse need to eat? And then you get, Steve petting Pegasus, and then Wonder Woman basically telling Steve, hey, there's going to be others coming very similar to Harbinger. And then after that, they get this whistle sound that kind of makes them go, what the fuck's going on? And then after that, you get the next big villain they're going to face, which is, I think it's called Tetracide, right? Yeah, Tetracide. Apparently, that's who this is. And then after that, the book ends. And as her telling the commander to evacuate the city while you have time. And then she basically just ends the book off, basically saying she was wrong. Because goddess protect us all. The Tetracide leaves nothing behind. And that's it. That's issue 2. So basically, set up. You got Steve Trevor. How would I say this? Their initial backstory to her and him meeting in hell, and then it going fast forward to the present, kind of like involving the army or Steve Trevor's part of the army, but what the hell's going on, how she's going to help them, how she wants to help them, where she's still a character who's going to be this person where she wants to help out the world of man. She's here to do that. And then you get the end of a new villain coming, and you get the little slice of life stuff about, hey, I'm gonna pet your horse, and I'm gonna talk to the horse, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a bad issue. It's just a bunch of setup. That's just really all it is,
like she says a great line here. Steve asks her, how is he alive? And she says, magic and sacrifice, just like you. So they had to have done something to get him resurrected and out of hell. Mm-hmm. So that'll probably be shown in the future. And then it says here that there will be others too. He says others, and she says heroes. So that must be the first indication of a team up coming down to the road. Yeah. Wait sometime.
Oh, another piece of setup here is that she mentioned heroes coming later on in the book, where she mentioned, right here before the whistling came out of that Tetracide villain, where she said, they will come around, Steve. I'm sorry to say there are many things coming that will force them to. They need my help, and there will be others too. Others, he says. And then she just replies, heroes. So, because people don't know, they have to cross over these books at some point. And I think it's because some of these lines could easily lose steam. I'm not saying this loses steam with the later issues before we read them, but just the way that this is going, I don't know how many arcs this can be a thing of like, hey, now I'm just going to fight an even bigger bad guy. Are they just going for like the villain of the week kind of thing, which is not bad, but that could get old very, very soon, honestly. You know?
Well, there's going to have to be definitely a more pronounced villain showing up, and I hope in the next couple issues.
We still haven't got Cheetah. We still haven't got Ares. Those are some of our prominent villains right there.
Ares sounds like it'd be a good one with all the god, Greek mythology themed stuff in this. Because like with Batman, you've already got like a bunch of different villains being set up, and
all of them.
Yeah. I imagine when they get all of the one shots or the arcs done, so Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, and Aquaman, I imagine we'll have a Justice League or one.
Are they doing absolute Aquaman? The only two that I've heard of was Martian Manhunter and Flash.
That's the only two
and Green
I've
Lantern. Oh god, that's their Justice League. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Flash, and Green Lantern in the absolute universe.
Have they announced Green Lantern yet?
Yeah, that's gonna be written by like Al Ewing or something like that.
Okay, all right, cool.
It's with some black chick.
Oh, okay, cool. So then I imagine Aquaman. What they could also wait to do the Justice League book to introduce Aquaman, and then Aquaman series starts after the Justice League book. They could be doing that route also. It seems like whatever Wonder Woman's doing is going to be possibly what ties them all together to fight. I'm not quite sure though. But yeah, not a bad issue.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would kind of classify this issue number 2, everyone, of Absolute Wonder Woman. Just nice setup, wholesome dialogue. You had a cool the balancing of the narrative is still kind of there. It's still very prevalent. I would just say, hey, the backstory for Steve Trevor, at least teased, would have been good enough. Just a little bit, But I could easily see this kind of falling off later on after a first arc, because I don't know what direction they're going to be taking this series, honestly.
Yeah.
But we still haven't got the Absolute Superman yet, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, any other closing thoughts and opinions on Absolute Wonder Woman number 2?
Nah, it's middle, it's a good, decent book. Not bad.
Yeah, it's starting decent so far. I thought issue 1 was fantastic. This one, solid, good overall. I didn't hate it when I read it.
It didn't make me want to quit reading it altogether. Like, pull it from my pull list. No, I've got 3 and 4 over there right now in my living room. So.
And you have the lighter right there.
Damn you, Marvel!
God, at least they didn't do the whole ad from like the first book. Absolutely.
Well, compared to the Naruto book that we did yesterday, that had
4 extra pages.
Yeah, this one, I was going to mention that to you too. It's just 1 page, 2 page right there, 1 sheet. That's the ads.
That's it. Yeah,
back cover ad, and then that's it. I like that.
And what I like about some of these books now is that they're advertising the. If you guys don't know, before we wrap up the review, they're advertising their DC's Finest line. And you should get these. These are DC's new collected editions, basically highlighting various story arcs from a popular character's popular story arc at a time period. But they need to highlight the compact comics more. I've not seen really a lot of ads highlighting those. I don't know why they haven't yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. Why they were, because I have a bunch of, I have all the ones that are out right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of these. I actually have all 4 of these finance collections right there. I have the Wonder Woman 1, Batman 1, Flash 1, Superman 1. I have the Justice League 1. I have the Green Lantern 1. The other ones I'm interested in getting in the Harley Quinn 1. I recently just bought that on my pull list. I got the Teen Titans Judas Contract 1. Yeah, the only ones I don't have is Aquaman, Supergirl, Doom Patrol, Catwoman, Legion of Superheroes, and 0 Hour Events. That's it. I'll be getting a team up one coming up very, very soon. But yeah, guys, I would say if you want to just dive into DC Comics, $40 for a good collected edition of like some popular story arcs from a popular superhero, get those. But yeah. Thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Deuces. Peace.